The end of days is upon us. Brotherhoods have gone out with their sages to collect knowledge. The brotherhood with the most knowledge will be the one to usher in the new world. Howdy and welcome back. I'm Mike, your board gaming every dude, so you know what you're getting into by watching this. We're going to be doing a playthrough of Fabled Eve of Times, and this is published, I'm going to turn it sideways, by Crowd Games, and we've got our designers Moraz Dev Studio and Anatoly Okapin. So, thank you both for this. 1 to 4 players for the challenge. Competitive mode is 2 to 5 players. It does require the base game of Fabled to play. Let me tell you a little about it. This is a fantasy fairy tale like game where the gods have determined that it is time for all things to be cast into oblivion, for a new world to start. But they want that new world to be led by whoever is the most worthy of containing knowledge. So they have issued a competition where these brotherhoods are going out to collect different books of knowledge, and whoever has the most books of knowledge shows that they are the most competent and able to lead. That was Fabled the Spirit Lands. That's a 1 to 5 player game as well, if I'm correct. Yeah, 1 to 5 player game. Eve of Times, what has happened is several brotherhoods have shown themselves to be worthy. So new challenges must be made so that there can only be, of course, one. So a few additions have been added as well as a lot of scenarios. The way Fabled plays is in scenarios. You pick a scenario to play. It's not a campaign. You pick the one you want. They have different complexity levels. So a low complexity means there are less moving parts. A higher complexity doesn't mean it's harder, other than the fact that there are more moving parts. Eve of Times adds 4 scenarios for the multiplayer game of 2 to 5 players, and then the challenge, which is the solo mode, where the gods have pitted the spirits against the brotherhood that you are controlling in order to really make sure that you are up for the challenge of holding all the knowledge in the world. But anyway, 1 to 4 players, and there are 5 scenarios that are added for that mode. So since it's 1 to 4 players, that means you can play it solo or cooperatively against the spirits, the AI opponent. Again, this is more of a fairy tale fantasy type world. It's very bright, it's very beautiful. Kind of Lord of the Rings-ish, which I guess isn't bright and beautiful. Forget it! I don't know what to compare it to. I feel like David the Gnome. This isn't a review. This is a prototype copy that was sent by the publisher. This is a sponsored video for this playthrough. Fabled Eve of Times is coming to crowdfunding as of now in September of this year, 2024. I'll put a link to the campaign in the description as well as a pinned comment, so if you are interested, you can follow, and when it's out, you can back it. If it's not for you, just hang out and play with me. Please turn on Klingon subtitles because I make mistakes. I wish I didn't, but that way I can clarify and you can see any mistakes I made. I also put them in the description. We are going to be playing Scenario 4, the Threshold of Oblivion. This is a complexity level of 3 out of 3. So the most complex that it gets, because I really want to showcase what this game is capable of, so you know what you're getting into. Let's play. Our game takes place over a series of rounds, and we use this timetable to help us. We will advance around after I have taken a turn and the AI opponent has taken their turn. When we advance around and there's a token, something good happens for me. It may include flipping over one of these cards for an event that will be in play until another event gets placed. Normally there would be an end of game token down here. In this scenario, the Threshold of Oblivion, we do not have one. If for any reason we get to the 10th round, we keep playing until the end of the game is triggered. The final round of the game is triggered when 14 lands are cast into Oblivion. We start out with 6 lands already in Oblivion. Here we have the lands that we are able to use in order to create our spirit lands for our sages to walk around, explore, and gather books of knowledge. We have our prairie lands, our mountain lands, and our forest lands. The prairie lands are the cheapest for us to place, but they have the least benefits. Mountain lands are a little more expensive with better benefits. Forest lands are the most valuable. As we build out the spirit lands, we will be taking our little sages to explore and collect valuable books. There are 4 books of knowledge: the books of prairies, the books of mountains, the book of forests, and the most valuable, the book of suns. At the end of the game, whoever has the most book of suns is the winner, with these lesser ones, particularly the forests, being the tiebreakers. Something unique to this scenario is the Threshold of Oblivion. Normally, when a sage finishes their exploration of a land and they move off of the map and there's no other land, they would go back to your reserve. Not so in the Threshold of Oblivion. Now there is this threshold where the sages find themselves getting trapped in between reality and oblivion, and we must pay a heavy cost of 3 books in order to bring them back into our reserve. Knowledge can also be cast into oblivion, only to be retrieved later. Anytime a land is cast into oblivion, the appropriate marker advances up and something very bad happens for me. A land is cast into oblivion when there are no sages on it at the end of your turn. An ally deck is in play. This is used to determine the actions for the AI opponent, but also I'm able to collect up to 3 allies with special abilities active at certain points, as well as upgrades that I'm able to gain. The spirits get a trickery deck whenever they are not able to take an action or aren't able to do something that would benefit them. They gain one of these. It has bad things that happen during their turn. That's enough of an overview. Let's play. Quick pause in the middle. If you want to support the channel, by all means, please click that like button. Click subscribe to see more if you're not subscribed. Thank you for being here. Back to the game. On it, I have the trickery deck shuffled and set to the side. And they start out with 6 books of prairies, 1 book of mountains, 1 book of forests. I hope my hands look nice and clean. All right, I got to start out with a guardian. The AI opponent, the spirits, do not ever have guardians. But what I did is I drew 3. I kept 1 and shuffled the other 2 back into the deck. So I'm starting with the Nether King. And we'll go ahead and read through this here. What do we got? After adding a location, also in the prologue, place 1 Nether King token. These little buddies here, I start out with 2. Nether King token from your reserve there. After your sage leaves a location with a Nether King token, return this token to your reserve. Receive 1 book of prairies and distribute 2 movements among your sages. And then, of course, I can do an upgrade later down here, which would be, after unlocking, take the 3rd Nether King token and place it in any location where he has none. Okay. We've got that ready, and then I get to start out with less. I start out with 3 books of prairies, a book of mountains, and a book of forests. Each of us gets our 7 sages. I am green, and our opposing player, they have 7. Wonderful. Okay, let's start on our time track. Actually, no, let's start out with the prologue. Every game starts with a prologue. I choose 1 location, either one of the face-up locations, or I can go blind and pull 1 from one of these decks, and I place it to start out our Spirit Lands. Then our AI opponent will do the same thing. I have to pay for them. So, if I want to get a prairie land, I have to pay 1 book of prairies. If I want to do mountains, I have to do 1 book of mountains. If I want to lay a forest, 1 book of forest. If there's more than 1, so let's say I want to place a forest, but there's another forest, I have to pay 1 book of prairies for each additional of that land type. You'll see it as we play. Oh my goodness. Okay, looking at these, I like to start out, I mean, there's a benefit to getting the prairies or the forests while they're cheap. And there's an advantage to laying the mountains, because what it is when I lay one of these down, I get to place one of my sages on that land. Well, mountains, I get to place 2 sages, because there are 2 types of paths. There are main paths and dead-end paths. Forests and prairies only have main paths, and I really want to get all my sages out as early as possible. So, here's what I think I'm going to do. I am going to just start out with a mountain early, and I'm going to start by looking at the different locations that I'm going to be able to visit. So this house of trees here, you're going to have to forgive me. I do have a cheat sheet, and I suppose I should make sure I call every one of these fabled places by the right thing. So the House of Roots. I'm going to do my best, but again, board gaming every duty here. You know what you're getting. I'm doing my best. Oh my Gravis. All right, so I've got, that's a powerful one because when I visit it, I'll get a Book of Forests. Then at the dead end, I'm going to be able to gain 4 Books of Prairies from the House of Winds, I believe. Yeah, that's the House of Winds there. As opposed, now this one is actually better. The dead end gets me a Book of Forests, and the main path gets me 2 of the Books of Stone. I like that one more. So I'm going to start out with that one. Good. So I'm coming over here. I'm placing it into my Spirit Lands where my sages can explore. I'm going to lay them down so you can see them. So they start at number 1. And when it comes to taking my turn, they're going to start moving through there. Now I immediately replace by flipping over a new card. It is now the Spirit's turn in the prologue, so I'm going to flip over the top card of the Guardian deck. Nothing matters except this symbol. You see, this is going to be forest, mountain, or prairie. In this case, it's forest. That lets me know that's the terrain that they are focusing on. That's the target terrain for the prologue. So they're going to place one of these locations of forest. However, in this scenario, this Threshold of Oblivion, they are going to take the most valuable forest location out of Oblivion, and then they're going to replace it from down here. So how do you know the most valuable location? Well, they have a priority list, which I will quickly show you here. I have it mostly memorized by now, but not entirely, of the locations that are the most valuable to them. So I know that the serpent right here, I know that this is fallen apart because it's Oblivion. This is the most valuable of the forest locations. So they're going to try to place this one. They have some rules about placing it. So let's go over to the Spirit Lands. Over here we go. They will always place it to the left of my sages, if at all possible. In this case, they can. So it just has to connect with those little arrows there. Actually, we're going to start up here. There we go. Starts with that little arrow. There are some other rules. We'll deal with it as those things come. They're going to place one of their sages onto the number 1. Now, please help me remember, help me remember that I have to replace from the most valuable of whatever they just took. I know that the Book of Forests is the most valuable on either of these 2 cards, so the tiebreaker is whichever one is closest in the path. So they would have to get to number 8 to get to this one, number 6. So this is the most valuable. It goes back into Oblivion, and it gets replaced by the top card. All right, it's time for us to start. We're going to go to Chapter 1. Chapter 1, I'm the first player. I get to go first. First comes the action phase, then the movement phase, and then the Oblivion phase. When we get to the AI opponent, they've got a trickery phase that gets littered into that fantasticness. So, for the action phase, I get to take one of 4 actions. Let's take a look at our little cheat card here, if you ever need it. See, I can take 2 Books of Prairies, perform 1 or 2 conversions. One of my sages gets to take 1 step, or I get to add 1 new location. I would like to add 1 new location while I can. Also, I forgot to use my Guardian ability. Oh my goodness, place 1 of my tokens after adding a location. I did that, also in the prologue. Usually you don't use your Guardians in the prologue. Place 1 Nether King from my reserve there. Okay, so I'm just going to put it at the top. Okay, so now I'm actually in my turn in the action phase. What do I want to place? I can place either prairies or I can place mountains. If I do that, I have to pay a mountain and a Book of Prairies because there's already a mountain up here. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And I forgot to pay, oh my goodness, for the locations there in the prologue. I put down a mountains land, so I have to pay with a Book of Mountains. And the spirits put down a forest land, so they pay a Book of Forests. Okay, so I can either place another forest, and if I do that, I have to pay a Book of Forests and a Book of Prairies, or I can place a plains just for 1 Book of Plains, which is what I think I'm going to do this early in the game. So let's take a look at our two options here. Which one's more valuable? Early in the game, I think this one, even though those conversions, I don't really need the conversions this early. So here we go. We are playing with a module. There are 3 modules that come with the Eve of Times. One of the modules is Magnificent Allies, and it adds a handful of powerful new allies to the ally deck. They're already shuffled in here. The next is Obstacles and Guides, which adds new locations that either have obstacles or guides. I have chosen to only add in the guides. What that means is it makes the game a little more challenging. It means that there is a difficult terrain here that I need the help of a guide to get across. So I have to pay a book of prairies to get from here to here. Normally that would be free. The spirits do not have to pay anything. But that means that the benefits are a little higher. There are new special locations on these cards with guides or obstacles. I'm not really ready to do a bunch of conversions yet, so I think I'm going to go with this prairies right here. So I'm going to pay 1 book of prairies, and I'm going to place it anywhere I want over here in the Spirit Lands. I can place it at the end, I can place it in between, I can place it on the left. Paths do not have to connect, but it helps me to. So, where do I want to do this? I can possibly start all the way back here to benefit from the forests. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to place my sage right there. That is my one action. Now I'm going to go on to the movement phase. I declare a location type, prairies, forests, or mountains, and I get to move 2 spaces in each of those location types. The opponent gets to move 1 space in whatever I declare. I want to get these mountains moving, so let's declare mountains. 1, 2, 1, 2, and there is no AI opponent there, so they don't get to move. I didn't reach any locations, so we don't resolve any of the fabled places. Now we go to Oblivion. If there are any cards without a sage on it, that card goes into Oblivion. That didn't happen. It's on to our opponent's turn. First, they're going to flip over an ally card, and their focus this round is the target territory is forests again. All right, so they're going to try to place a forest territory, the one of the most value. However, they cannot do it because they don't have any way to pay for it. So what happens? They get 1 trickery card. Flip over the top 1, Enticing Territory, and we're going to have to resolve this during their trickery phase. Also, they are going to perform 1 conversion because they didn't have enough books. So the way conversions work, we've got a little cheat sheet to help, is 2 of 1 level let you upgrade to 1 of the next level up. And the AI opponent will always try to convert the highest possible. So the highest they can do is 2 books of prairies for 1 book of stone. Now we're on to their movement phase. Their target territory is forest, so they're going to go 1, 2. I don't have anybody in the forest, so I don't get to move. They didn't reach any location, so we don't resolve. Now we go to the trickery phase. Enticing Territory. The spirits shuffle the revealed ally cards to randomly determine a new target territory type. As usual, their sage takes 2 movement each, and your sage take 1 movement each. If the spirits have no sages in the locations of the target territory type, they search the spirit land for the leftmost location that has their sage and declare movement in this type. All right. They only have 2 at this point, so we can shuffle it, but I mean, they're both forest. So it's going to be forest. 1 and 2. They still have not reached a location. So now we have finished trickery. We go to the Oblivion phase. There is no Oblivion. We go to the next chapter. All right, now that we've moved down to chapter 2, we are at a event token. So we resolve this in chapter 2. We flip over the top card of our event deck. Super cool. And we get to apply the top for the rest, well, until another event covers it. Once per game, during your action phase, You may pay 2 books of prairies or 1 book of mountains to unlock a feature of one of your allies. So 2 books for 1 mountain to unlock one of my features. The event is inactive until the time marker reaches the first owl. So that's going to be chapter 3, actually. So I can't do it till chapter 3 anyway. We ignore the bottom because see how this had 1 feather? We apply the 1 feather part. If this was 3 feathers, then we would apply that. That comes later in the game. But we'll put it right there and decide whether or not I will end up wanting to do that. And I forgot to add new prairie there. There we go. I would like for my action phase to be able to pay for a forest while I still can. So I'm going to pay for a forest and a book of prairies in order to pick one of these 2. This is quite a powerful location. It allows me to mimic any other location, get 2 books of stone, or I think this one's actually worth more at the moment for me. So I'm going to take this location. Let's see if I can connect it to anything of mine. All right. I can go all the way to the left. That's usually a good idea. Yeah, for now it's okay. And I'm going to put my sage there. That's my action. I paid for it. Now I'm going to go into my movement phase. Do I want to do the forest? I think I want to... I'm a little worried about moving too fast in the mountains, but I may as well for now. So 4, 5, 4, 5. And my opponent doesn't have any pieces. That finishes my movement phase. I haven't reached any location. There's no Oblivion. Let's go to my opponent's phase. In their target territory, what is up with this? I shuffled these, I swear. It's forest. Again, they don't have a book of forest. So what are they going to do? They're going to take a trickery card. We're going to resolve that shortly. And they are going to do a conversion, 2 books of stone for 1 book of forest. Boom. Now they're going to do movement in the forest. Remember, they don't have to pay for these guide spaces, so they're going to go 1 and 2. And I forgot, forgive me, when I placed this token, I should have put it on my location, so it's actually the first one there it is. It's the mountains is where I placed. See? Told you I make mistakes, but I try to catch them. All right, good. So they made it to a location, which means they get to visit a fabled place. So you get to the special place, you slide on over to the fabled place. I am also in forest, so I am going to get to move 1 space with my sage. Now we resolve locations. They're visiting a fabled place. They're going to get 3 books of prairies. Let's add that. Hello. And now they go back to the location. They don't get to visit it again. They don't have to visit it, but there's really no reason not to. Now we're on to the trickery phase. Wanderers of Meadows. The spirits distribute movement among their sages equal to the total number of prairie allies they revealed during the game, limited to 3. They haven't revealed any prairie allies, so because of that, they can't do anything to advantage themselves. We have to flip over a new trickery card. Oh my goodness. We apply it immediately. If you have more than 1 trickery card, you apply all of them. Dwellers of Thickets. The spirits distribute movement among their sages equal to the total number of forest allies they revealed during the game, limited to 3. They have flipped over 3, so they get to distribute 3 movement points. When they do that, they start from the left and work to the right. So they move 1, and then, oops, I keep thinking they're green. They are not green. They are only orange, and they only have 1, so we're going to go 1, so down to 8, and they're actually going to stop there. They could go 8, 9, 10, but it would mean skipping a location. That's not in their priority, so they actually just stop right there. So now that they've reached that, they get to visit this fabled place. This location allows them to copy any other location on the board in the order of their preference or their, here we go, their priority list. So their priority list is they're going to mimic the House of Forests, and they're going to get 1 Book of Forest. Okay. Finish movement. Finish trickery. On to Oblivion. Nothing to obliviate. Next chapter. We are on to chapter 3, which means we are resolving a guardian. I get to gain a new guardian. This does not apply to our opponent. I draw 3 guardian cards, and I get to keep one of them. I've got Herald of the Lands, Negotiator, and Chronicler. I can tell you right now, I really liked the Chronicler, so I'm going to just go with him, all right? And I'll read it to you. The Chronicler. When Chronicler joins you, place his token active, colored side up, during your action phase. You may flip the token to its inactive side and take 1 regular action except adding a location with a +2 modifier. You may not take 2 identical actions on the same turn. After your Sage returns to your reserve, flip the Chronicler token active side up. This is hard. In other games it's great because your Sages automatically go to your reserve when they leave a location and there's not another one to go on to. In this one, they go to the Threshold of Oblivion, and I have to pay 3 Books of Prairies to bring them to my reserve. So, yeah, we'll see. Take the other 2 and shuffle them back into the deck. I also need to go back because I forgot with my Nether King token, when I placed a location, I was to place this down. So that would have been on the prairies right there, that needs to be. And I now want to look at my unlock options. I can pay 2 Books of Prairies to unlock the advanced ability of either one of these. Either get a 3rd Nether King token or get a 2nd Chronicler token. I can't pay for it yet, but maybe it will be worth something when I can pay for it. Action phase, I can't actually do any. I can't place a location because I have 1 Book of Prairies and I forgot to replace the Book of Forest, like I always do. I have 1 Book of Prairies, and in order to place a prairie, I would need another because I would need to pay 2 because there is already a prairie out. So, since I can't do that, and I can't do conversions, I can take 1 step, or I can gain 2 Books of Prairies. Also, he would have, the opponent would have returned to his location there. I'm going to take 2 books of Prairies. Add those to my supply. Now for the movement phase, let's just keep going with the mountains. 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm still not at a location, which isn't awesome, but that's the end. No Oblivion. Opponent's turn. Location of choice, mountains. Okay, that's a problem because our opponent does not have any Books of Stone, so you know exactly what we do next. We take a trickery card, yay, to apply later on, and they get to do a conversion. They are going to convert 2 Books of Forest to a Book of the Sun. Normally they would convert the highest up, however, at this point in the game they have what's called a reserve, and I may have made a mistake with that earlier, where they are to have a certain number of books of each type so that they can place in the right location. The reserve is 3 Books of Prairies, 1 Book of Stone, and 1 Book of Forest. So actually their last conversion of 2 Books of Stone to 1 Forest wouldn't have happened, but it still is fine. They still meet the reserve. We're going to be all right. So we are going to convert 2 Books of Forest to 1 Book of Stone. And now this is their supply. They would declare movement on mountains, but they don't have anyone on the mountains, so they pick the location that is all the way to the left. So in this case, it would be the forest. They will declare movement. They will go 1, 2, and they are at a location. They are going to visit this house. They get to convert any 2 books to upgrade up 2 levels. Because they're keeping their reserve, we're going to convert 2 Books of Prairies to 1 Book of Forests. And actually, we wouldn't call this a conversion. This is a transformation at that location. So now they are getting a good supply of high-quality books. They're going back to their location. They visited the fabled place. Now we go to the trickery phase. Heartbeat Crumbs. The spirits take a Book of Prairies, the number of Book of Prairies equal to the total number of locations with your Sage in the Spirit Land, limited to 3. I have 3 locations, so they get 3 Books of Prairies. You'll see some of these have a special purple symbol. That's if you are playing the hard mode, or I believe it's called the legendary mode, then you would apply anything that's underneath. We are not playing legendary. But what that would mean is it wouldn't be limited to 3. They would move however many sages I had. Now we move to Oblivion. There are no empty locations, so no Oblivion. Chapter 4. No special tokens on Chapter 4. It's my turn. I do have Books of Prairies, so I am able to place 1 prairie, and that's what I'm going to do. Pay for 2, and let's pick one of these locations right here. Let's see, the Book of Stone. There's only 1 location here. Book of Stones at 6, Book of Stones at 7, and possible conversions. I think this is the better of the 2. So, put that, flip over a new one, and I'm going to place my location. Alright, where are we going to go? I could go at the end. No. So this is a tough one because, but it may be, actually this is good. It connects my forest path to my next prairie path. So let's stick with that. Right there, I'm going to place my sage, and if I move in the mountains, I'm getting ready to place my poor sages into Oblivion, but right now, let's just do it. So I'm gonna stick with mountains. I'm gonna move 1, and they're going to visit a fabled place. 1, they're going to visit a fabled place. Now we resolve our locations. So I'm going to get 1 book of forest, and I'm going to get 2 books of stone. Boom, boom. Action phase, movement phase, no Oblivion yet. Onto our opponent. And they have declared prairies. All right, and they can place the prairies. So they are going to go into Oblivion. And they're going to pick the most valuable of the prairies, which just looking at it, I know is this one right here. Then they're going to replace that with the most valuable prairie here. So this card gets placed into Oblivion and gets replaced with a new one. They're going to place this to the left. They start all the way to the left of one of my sages where the path connects. So they're going to try to place it right here, and they can do that because these connect. There we go. This doesn't have to connect over here if it's my sage. However, if it was their sage over here, then, wait, what did they put? They put this. If it was their sage that was over here, then this path would need to connect to wherever their sage was. But that's not the case. So, that messed up my little path connection. They're going to place one of their sages right there. They are going to declare, they're going to pay for it with 1 book of prairies, 2, 3. 3 books of prairies. The AI opponent, if they ever have to pay more than 3 books of prairies, they instead draw a trickery card. And forgive me, that's additional payment of no more than 3. So that would be 1 book of prairies, an additional 3. They will pay up to that. So a total of 4 books is what they're willing to pay. Otherwise, you draw a trickery card. Doesn't matter. They're going to move in the prairies. So here we go. 1, 2. They don't have to move to cross that bridge. And now I get to move 1 space in each prairie. 1. And I'm going to have to pay 1 book of prairies to move up there. So there we go. This guide is going to take me across the river into that space. We didn't land at any location, so we don't resolve that. They don't have any trickery cards, and there's no Oblivion. Chapter 5. Chapter 5, we resolve 2 things. I get to either upgrade for free or get a new ally card. I would like to upgrade for free. So I'm going to upgrade my Chronicler. I get the 2nd token, and I place the upgrade token. Also, we resolve a new event to replace the old one. That one has 2 feathers, so we resolve the 2 feathers section. Once per turn during your action phase, you may pay 3 books of prairies or 1 book of stones to place 1 sage from your reserve on any main path without your sage in a prairie or mountains. Okay, so pay 3 books of prairies to place my sage on another path. That's an expensive one. Maybe it's worth it. I have 2 sages in reserve at the moment. At the moment, I have not been very smart. I don't have any books of prairies, so I can't afford to place any locations. So I am going to take the action to collect 2 books of prairies. There we go. I have the most going on in prairies, so I'm going to declare movement there. 3, 4, 3, 4. Now there are 2 locations to visit, and I get to pick one of them. I can use the terrain portal to rearrange one of the locations that has my sage on it, or I can collect 4 books of prairies. But I can't do both. So I could move this right here. I could teleport over one, but really I feel like I have enough time. I would rather get the 4 books of prairies. So we're going to visit the House of Winds, I believe. I'm going to get 4 books of prairies, and we're going to come back down. I did that a little out of order because my opponent was supposed to move 1 space as well, but we're still fine. We're going to let them resolve their location in priority order. Their priority is for the Alchemist Lab. They're going to come over here. They have similar rules to me when I go here. They get to take 1 action for each terrain type that has left play. So in Oblivion, there's forest, prairies, and mountains. There's 1 of each in play. So they get to take 3 actions. An action is 2 conversions. So they're going to take 2 conversions per each action. Then they get to take 1 movement for each conversion they've made. So this is pretty brutal. Remember, they have to keep a reserve. So this is their reserve. So they're going to convert 2 books of forests, up 1, to the very first Book of the Sun. If we look here, it says they perform 2 conversions per Alchemist Lab actions. However, they can't do any more because they're trying to keep a reserve. So it says they receive 2 books of prairies. If there's nothing to convert, they receive 2 books of prairies per action. After that, they distribute steps equal to the total number of the Alchemist Lab actions they took. So they did 1 conversion for that 1 action. For their next action, they are going to get 2 books of prairies. Now they're able to convert again for their 3rd action. Really, it would be 2 conversions, but they can't. So here's 2 to get 1 book of stones. And because of their reserve, they're not going to convert again. They're all done. They're going to take 3 steps in the target territory, which is the prairies. So they're back here. They're going to go 1. Oh boy. And 2. And 3. So they are just booking through the lands. Now it's time for Oblivion. And we have our very first Oblivion leaving play. This prairie goes into Oblivion. Couple things are going to happen. 1, everything gets glued back together. There we go. Boom, boom, and boom. But we're also going to go over here to our Threshold of Oblivion, and we're going to move our prairie up 1 and resolve the token on the slot. So we have to place 1 sage from our reserve, 1 each of us, into the Threshold of Oblivion. I have 1, so into the Threshold of Oblivion, and our opponent also has a free 1 into the Threshold of Oblivion. We can discard this token. For me to get that sage out, I have to pay 3 books of prairies to place them into my reserve and use them. The AI opponent does not ever pay that. They wait over here until a certain trigger in the game, which is actually the next chapter. Alright, it's our opponent's turn, and they are declaring forest territories. Alright, forest territories, and they can pay for that because they have a book of forest, and they have 2 books of prairies, so I'll get 1 back. They're going to take the most valuable forest location, which is going to be this one, because of the treehouse right there. They are then going to replace it with the most valuable of the forests. Got that right there. Refresh this right here. And now see where we can place it. To the left, as long as it connects the path, which it does. Boom. 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 There we go. Place one of their sages from their reserve right there. They're going to declare movement in the forest. 1, 2. I get to move 1. They're going to move 1, 2. No locations to resolve. No trickery cards. And no oblivion. Chapter 6. And we have a new trigger into the threshold. The game changes right now. From this point forward, all of our opponent's sages are placed into the threshold. They continue placing locations, but now they do it for free, and they place their sage from the threshold onto that new location. I am also able to benefit in that I am allowed to place one of my sages on whatever location they place. We're trying to get out of this threshold. At some point, we might end up with books in the threshold. If we place a location, and there are books in the threshold, we take all those books and place it at the end of the path in the location. Whoever gets there first gets to distribute those books. For my turn, I'm going to place a mountain location with a book of stone and a book of prairies to pay for the 1 location already out there. Actually, I'm going to backtrack because I only have 1 sage in my reserve, and I need 2 to place mountains. However, now that we have crossed into the threshold, I can place only 1 sage if I want to. I don't want to waste that yet. And remember, I actually have the Chronicler ability, and I think I would like to use it. So I'm going to spend, we're going to use this. So I'm going to use my first action to get 2 books of prairies. 1, 2, boom. My next action, I'm going to flip this over to show that I have used it. This isn't an action, this is free. I'm going to pay 3 books of prairies to get my dude. Oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it yet. No. Okay, I'm going to put him back. We're going to undo all that. Oh my goodness. The reason is that I get to refresh this when I bring someone into my reserve. So I want to do it strategically. So we're back where I was. I'm not placing mountains. I will place the forests are too expensive right now. So we are placing another prairie. So we're going to pay 3 to place a prairie. And which one? I think we can do the Book of Stones or Conversions. I think this is the better for right now. So I'm going to place this one. I paid for it already. And I'm going to save my Mountaineers over here. So we're just going to move this. And this loops around. If the table's longer, you just keep it going in a line. But they still go from here down to there. No problem. Now this sage won't step into oblivion. They're going to keep walking. So I'm going to place my 1 sage from reserve right there. I am going to use my action. I'm going to flip this over to, I can't use it to place a location, but I get to do any other thing with a +2 modifier. So I am going to either get 2 books of prairies with +2 more, or take a movement with +2, which, boy, oh boy, oh boy. I could do that in the forest. I think that's worth it, sort of. Not really, though, because I only need 1 movement to get there. So I think I'm going to get books of prairies. 1, 2, 3, 4 books of prairies. There we go, 3 and 4. And I'm going to save my other action. Now I'm going to declare movement in the prairies because that's where I have the most going on. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and 1, 2, and let's see. 1, 2. They are going to move 1. We have no locations to resolve, and oh my goodness, Oblivion. I get this token back, so this prairie goes into Oblivion. There you are. We're going to have to resolve that, so we're up to 8 in Oblivion. Let me resolve this token. Remember, it says return this token to your reserve, receive 1 Book of Prairies, and distribute 2 movements among your sages. I'll do that. But first, we need to resolve the next Book of Prairies. So we move up the Threshold of Oblivion, and we resolve our token. The spirits receive 1 divine token, which they're going to place on their next location card. Now, I gain 1 Book of Prairies, and I get my 2 movements. From my guardian, well, I've been calling them guardians, my allies, excuse me. My ally powers. I'm going to distribute by moving 1, and we're at a dead end, so they go into, sadly, the Threshold of Oblivion, but that's actually strategic, because I want to have 2 in Oblivion, just in case my opponent places a mountain, I can bring them back out for free, which would be great. Or I can pay for 1 to come to my reserve and get my action back. That's it. Allies to, excuse me, opponent. I'm so confused. All right, Snake Queen doesn't matter. They are declaring movement in the forest. All right, do they have, oh boy, they don't have any Book of Forest, so we are going to draw a trickery card. They no longer pay attention to reserve now that we have gone into the threshold. So they are going to get to do 1 conversion. They're going to convert 2 Books of Stone to a Book of Forest. Boom, Book of Forest. They're going to declare movement in the forest. If they have any, they do. We're going to 1, and they're going to visit the Fabled Place. So we're going to put them there. And they don't have any other force, so now I get to move, and I get to go boom, and I'll visit a Fabled Place. And then I get to move 1. Awesome. So first, they're going to get 3 Books of Prairies, and they're going to come back, 3 Books of Prairies. I'm going to get 1 Book of Prairies for each location that has sages, so 4, and they're going to go back. Hey, 4 Books of Prairies. Now they're going to resolve trickery. Mystical beings, the spirits perform conversions equal to the total number of your allies. I have 2, so they're going to do 2 conversions with what they have. Here's what they have. They're going to convert Book of Prairies, and actually they're just going to do Book of Prairies twice, so they're going to end up with 2 Books of Stone. Their current collection. Oblivion, there's no Oblivion going on. Oh my wow. On to Chapter 7. Great, and we can see my supply right here. Now I have all the Books of Prairies in the world. What's up? Oh my wow. But we moved to round 7, and I'm sorry that the time track can't be in camera. I did all I could. Okay, so here we go. I get another ally or an upgrade. Whoops, hold it down here. Another ally or an upgrade. And I want another ally. You can have a max of 3 allies. I get another one. So let's draw 3 and pick one. This late in the game, Savant Cat, I don't see being super useful. Let's see about Trailblazer. It looks interesting. Trailblazer, when you spend an action to take 1 movement, you get 2 movement more and distribute them among your sages. Your sage can move along unlinked main paths while taking these steps. Yes, that's what I want. Boom. And then if I wanted to upgrade it, which I can't anymore, I don't think. Because, yeah, I can't do that. Okay. Anyway, I need to remember that I have this event that's still active as well. I can pay 3 Books of Prairies or 1 Book of Stone to place 1 sage from my reserve. Oh, that's right. But that's the problem, is I don't have them in reserve because we're playing the Threshold of Oblivion, and that makes it harder. Oh my goodness. Life is hard. Shuffle these 2 back into the deck. Lovin' life. I forgot to replace a prairie. Hello. Pay attention. For my action phase, I cannot place right at the moment because I don't have any sages in reserve. But here's what I want to do. I want to pay 3 Books of Prairies to bring my sage into the reserve. And that's not an action. That's a free thing you can do in this scenario only. Where were you? Oh, you were right where you're supposed to be. All right. Since I brought my chronicler, I'm going to read it to you because I made a mistake on this first time I played. After your sage returns to your reserve, flip the chronicler token. Good. Active side up. So I now have 2 actions again because of that expensive move. Now I can place something somewhere. A forest would be really expensive right now. A mountain would be a small waste. So, token. I'll tell you what. I feel like it's time for me to use my extra actions. I'm so concerned. All right. Also, I can place a Nether King token. Wait a minute. I forgot to do this earlier. After your sage leaves a location with a Nether King token, that was the last turn. Woo! I get another one. I have 2 Nether King tokens to place when I place locations. But because of that, I would have had my 2 books of prairies, right? What? No, 1 book of prairies and 2 movements. Okay. 1 book of prairies. Why are you in my hand? You're in my hand. Thank you. And I would have gotten distribute 2 movement points. We're going to go back and do it because that was the last turn if I remember correctly. Or, you know what, that was my mistake, and it's going to change the game up too much, so I'm just going to say I lost it, okay? That was my bad for not finding it. But I'm okay with taking that back and getting the Book of Prairies. That doesn't really mess up any of the gameplay. That I can see. So, I would like to do some conversions, or I would like to move, actually. I would like to move. Here we go. I'm going to use this. When you spend an action to move, take 1 movement. You get 2 more, and I can move along unlinked paths. All right, here I go. I'm going to go 1. I went 1, and then 1, 2. So we're going to visit and make 4 conversions. Here are the conversions. We are going to convert to 2 books of forests. 1 and 2. Can you see? Yes. And 2 more conversions to books of stones. 1 and 2. That was 1 action. You get to go back here. I only get to pick 1 of the locations when there's a choice. Here's the problem. She's about to step into Oblivion. And I don't think that's the end of the world right now, actually. So, how about I spend an action to place a location onto the board, and that would be 1. There's only 2 prairies. I don't want to keep placing just prairies. So, I'm going to spend an action, oh my wow, to move again, I think. Yeah, so where can I move again using the exact same Trailblazer benefit? I think I would like to move somewhere with conversions. Can I do that? 1, 2, 3. No, I'd only get to go up to there. Oh boy. Are there any unlinked paths? I don't think so. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, or I could go here and make conversions. So let's do that. Even though it's only 1 movement, right? That's fine. 1, 2, yeah, let's do it. Let's go 1, and I'm going to go here to do another 4 conversions. It's expensive, I know. Let's do 2 more books of stone. No, I'll tell you what, let's do 2 books of forest for a book of the sun. That's 1 conversion. 3 left. 2 books of stone for 1 book of forest. That's 2 conversions. And 4 books of prairies for 2 books of stone. That is 4 total conversions. So 1 book of stone, 2 book of stone. Okay, that was my second action because I spent that. Now I'm going to pay. Oh boy, this is risky. I'm going to pay 3 books of prairies. 1, 2, 3 to get my sage back from the reserve, which means I get to flip this back over to the active side, and I'm going to place a stone location with a book of stone and a book of prairie and my 2 sages. I want to place this one to get a book of forest. This is the one I want. And we're going to go right there so that we don't walk into Oblivion yet. So place, and I can take more actions right now if I want to. And I feel like I could and should. I'm going to place the Nether King right here because I placed that location. So, oh wait a minute, it says take 1 regular action. You may not take 2 identical actions on the same turn. Did I do that? Uh-oh. I moved, and then I moved again. I did. I did take 2 identical actions. And it's going to be too much to undo it. So I'm going to tell you right now, I was wrong. So if I win, I cheated. I could undo that, and I would do conversions instead, which would have been a 2 conversions action. But my brain is fried, so I'm just going to let you know I made that mistake. Don't make that mistake, okay? But to kind of balance it, what I will do is I will pretend like I don't actually have one of these. All right? So that's kind of my making it up as I go way to do that. That's not in the rules. That's my own way. Flip over. New path of stones. Whew! Okay. I could take an action to do a conversion, because I didn't take an action to do a conversion yet. I did a movement and a movement. So I've fixed what I can. All right. Now I'm going to declare movement in the prairies. So we're going to go, I was back there, so we're going to go 1, 2. We're going to go 1, 2. We're going to go 1, 2. You can share spaces, you can go over spaces, it doesn't matter if it's you or the opponent. And they are going to move 1. There are no locations to resolve. There is no Oblivion. And my opponent says, prairies are where I want to be. And guess what they have? No books of prairies. But that doesn't matter. Because remember, they don't have to pay for books now that we've gone into the threshold. I must remember this. Oh my goodness. So they're going to take 1 sage from the threshold, and they're going to place them on the prairie with the highest amount. And they are both very similar, but they're both at the exact same place as well. However, this one, we'll do the one that's furthest away. There we go. Boom. They're going to place it to the left of mine, the earliest possible, except, see, their sage is on this card, so I can't put it there because it would dead end their path. So we would go to the left of my next one. See, does that work? Nope. Same reason. And same reason, however, it will work here. It will work here. So we go left to right. There we go. And they're going to place one of their sages. And I don't have any in the threshold. And there are no books in the threshold. They have a divine token, so they are going to place it on the highest value location. And it will be resolved when I reach that location. When they reach it, it doesn't matter. What it does is, when I get there, I resolve it. Then they get to resolve it. And this goes back into their, I'll check, either discard or reserve. It gets discarded. Now they're going to declare movement in the prairies. Let's go. 1, 2. Hey, they're going to visit the house. This is the one that they prefer. And they're going to go 1, 2. I'm going to get to move 1. Woo. All right, let's resolve the Fabled Place. The Universal Academy, 4 conversions. And this is a problem. They can't actually do it. They can do 1, though. As long as they can do at least 1, then it counts. But if they can't do 1, then it wouldn't. So 2 books of stone for a book of forest, 2 books of forest for a book of, come on, the sun. So 2 books of the sun. They are in the lead. I have 1 book of the sun. I feel like I messed up. Like they should have more books out here. I don't know. Anyway, you go back there. There's no trickery. There's no oblivion. Chapter 8. And look at this. We're going to resolve another event. Replace this one. Boom. And there are different event decks. I just picked this one. You can pick several different ones. See the future. Additional payment for adding a location from the top of the deck, that would be one of these blind ones, is 1 prairie less. Ooh. Once per turn during your action phase, you may secretly look at the top card of any one location deck. Oh. Okay. Oh, wait. It's number 3. I'm sorry. It's 3 feathers. After adding... This is the one that applies, not that one. After adding a location, you may take any other action with a +1 modifier. For instance, your sage takes 2 movement instead of 1 movement. Oh, boy. Okay. Or instead of 2 conversions for an action, I could do 3. All right. All my sages are out, so I cannot place a new location. For my 1 action, I would like to... I need Books of Prairies, but I think I'll spend it for movement. And I think I should take 1 movement action in the prairies right here. Yes, I think right here. No, I should get Books of Prairies first. So for my action, I'm going to get 2 Books of Prairies for this. Okay, I'm going to get 2 Books of Prairies. I'm going to take... Oh, no, I can't do that. Oh my goodness, what am I going to do? I can take a movement, get Books of Prairies, or do conversions. I can do 2 conversions, up to 2 conversions. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to convert, for 1 action, I'm going to do conversions. Convert 2 Books of Forest to 1 Book of the Sun, and that's it. Now, I'm going to take another action. Oops. So flip him over, and I'm going to do movement with that. No, I'm going to do... no, never mind. There's so much... I messed up my whole thing. I forgot I have to add a location to use the event bonus. So I'm probably best to get the Books of Prairies. And I'm going to go 3 and +2 modifier. So I'm going to get 4 instead. I don't know if that was the wisest use. I really don't. Let's declare movement. I am going to move... In the forest is where I have the most right now. So let's do that. Let's go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And in the forest, they move 1. That's it. No locations. No oblivion. My opponent's turn. They have declared the forest. So they are going to pull a forest out of oblivion, the most valuable one. This one right here. Replace it with the most valuable down here. It's this one. Replace this. All right, where can we place you? Not valid. Because the path doesn't connect to the one to the right. Doesn't connect to the one to the right. Doesn't connect to the one to the right. Does connect to the one to the right and to their sage to the left. So this is fine. There we go. Boom. And take 1 of their sages from the threshold. And there are no Books of Oblivion over there, so that goes right there. They are going to declare movement in the forest. So we're going to go 1, and they're going to visit. And then their next one is going to, yeah, they only moved 1, and then 1, 2, because they stop when they reach a location, same as you. I get to move 1. I get to, oh boy, I get to move 1, but I have to pay a Book of Prairies to do it. I need help of a guide. 1, and then 1. So let's resolve their location with a Book of the Forests. There we go. Add you right over here. And they don't have any trickery. They don't have any oblivion. Chapter 9. I'm going to declare movement. So I'm going to use my Trailblazer. I get a total of 3 movements. So, oh boy. I can do this conversion location. Let's do it. I'll go 1, and we'll visit here. And then I get 2 more movement points. I don't want to cross that path yet, so I'm going to go here to visit that. That's 2 movement points. And I would like my 3rd to go over here to get to this Book of Prairies as quickly as possible, really. I should be doing, okay, so let's resolve these. Still the action phase. So I'm going to first do the prairies. So I'm going to get 3 books of prairies. 1, there you are. 3 books of prairies over here. Now I'm going to resolve my other location up here. I get to transform any 3 books into 2 of the next level up. So I'm going to transform 3 books of prairies into 2 books of stone. Transformation successful. I'm going to declare movement in the mountains. We're going to go 1, 2, visit this location. 1, 2, 1, 2. And they're going to move 1 in their location. I'm going to get 4 books of prairies from the House of the Winds. Where are you at, my prairies? 3 and 4. Okay, I'm doing a little better again. That's all the locations. No oblivion. My opponent is going to go to the prairies, is what they have declared. All right, let's go into oblivion. And the most valuable so far is this one. Yes, this is the most valuable one right here. So we're going to place that, and we are going to replace it with the most valuable down here, which is going to be this one. This one goes into oblivion. There we are. Replace our available. And let's see, hopefully we can place this. Otherwise we have to change all that, which is never fun. This doesn't connect. This doesn't connect. Doesn't connect. Does connect, but it doesn't connect with their sage there. Uh-oh. Does not connect here either. So what we would do is we would then go to the next least valuable one. So I probably shouldn't have finished that whole process, but I'm going to leave it. I don't think it's going to be too big a problem. So anything with the same path location like that isn't going to work. The next most valuable would be this one, which might work. So back into oblivion you go. Let's try this one. Oh my goodness. Let's place you. Again, I did that a little bit out of order, but we're going to be all right. So check to make sure you place it first before you replace it. Lesson learned. This will work. It will not work. This will not work. This will not work. This will also not work. Oh my goodness. So you keep going down for one that will work. So we know that neither of those layouts work. The next most valuable would be this one. Same layout that doesn't work. So that won't work. And this one will. So that's what's left. Let's place this one. If none of them work, then you just place it in the leftmost location. All right, so let's try this right here. It will work. There we are. Boom. Take one of the sages from the Threshold of Oblivion. There are no books to place. There are no divine tokens to place. They're going to declare movement in the prairies. They're going to go 1, 2, because they don't have to pay the guide. And then they're going to go 1, 2. They're going to go 1, 2. And am I in the prairies at all? Yes, 1. So I get to move 1 space. No locations to resolve. No Oblivion. Chapter 10. I'm going to declare movement to move 1 space in the prairies. I'm going to do 4 conversions. Here we go. All right, 2 books of stone for 1 book of the forest. And then 2 more conversions. We're going to do 4 books of prairies for 2 books of stone. Finally, 2 books of stone for 1 book of forest. Bam, resolved the location. So I would have gone over there, came back, visited that fabled place, took my action of movement. Can't use the bonus because I stopped at that fabled place. Now I'm going to declare movement, and I have the most in the forests right now, right? 1, 2, 3, or I can finish up the House of Stones, which would be very valuable. But let's just wrap this up. Let's go 1, 2, and then we're going to go 1, 2, and then we're going to go 1, and we're going to visit this fabled place. Our opponent gets to move 1 and 1. Excellent. So only 1 place to resolve. I get to copy any location on the board. So I could do a book of forest, or I could do conversions. That would be what? I don't think I should do conversions unless we have, there's a very special one here, a tower, a singular learning tower that I don't see anywhere. So I think I'm going to do the, boy, I would like that tower if we had one, and we just don't. So I'm thinking I should do 2. I can pay 2 books to go up 2 levels. I don't really need that. So, oh my goodness, I'm just going to take a book of forests. So I'm going to duplicate that location. Book of forest. Bam. There we go. Finished our movement. Did I bring you back from where you were? Yes, I did. There is Oblivion to resolve. Here we go. Oblivion in the forest. So this is now a dead-end path. Boom. And boom. Oblivion in the forest. Into there you go. That brings us to what? 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we're at 9. 14 triggers the end of the game. They start going a bit faster as you get down here. So we're going to move our Oblivion up and our Threshold of Oblivion up, and we each have to place one of our sages from the reserve into the threshold. I don't have one, so I don't have to do it. They don't have one to place in their threshold, so they instead receive 1 divine token to place in their reserve. Boom. For my opponent's turn, they are declaring prairies. They are going to place the highest applicable prairie land. Here we go. It's still going to be this one. We'll see if it works now. Let's place it first. Let's not make the same mistake as last time. And this actually works. So they're going to place it right here in the first available location, placing one of their sages from the threshold. And that's their last one. Now I'm going to put the highest value location, which is this one, into Oblivion. So Oblivion never goes down. And we place it. It doesn't matter. You don't have to slide these around because it doesn't actually matter what order they are in this scenario. In another scenario, it does. You don't slide them. You just leave them where they are. Now they're going to declare movement in the prairies. All right, here we go. Action time. Boom. They're going to go to the most valuable one. That right there. 1, 2. 1, 2. They're going to go to the most valuable one. Is that right there? They're going to go boom, and they're going to visit that location. Oh my goodness. I get to move 1 space and 1 space. All right. Whew. Gravis, Bo, Davis. Let's resolve these. All right, so they're not going to teleport. So for their teleport, I don't see any special instructions for the AI opponent. Certain locations work different for them, and it's on the cheat sheet. So they get to reposition one location. So I'm going to just assume it means to relocate any that would dead end for them. So I don't see them going to a dead end at this point. So there isn't any benefit to that. So they're going to take a trickery instead. And back to that they go. Now, it could be that they were then to take the lesser of the locations to visit that fabled place, but I'm just going to do that as that is. And correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, what was the other location? 4 conversions. Gravis, Bo, Davis. All right, 4 conversions. Can they do... They can't actually do that, right? And so they would take a trickery since they can't actually do that. So we're going to have 2 trickeries to resolve. Awesome. Now they're going to get 2 books of stone. Wham bam, boo bam. You may wonder, why didn't I just do that first? You just resolve left to right. You don't have to think for them. That resolves movement, so let's take a look at trickery. Heartbeat. The spirits perform conversions equal to the total number of locations with your sage in the spirit land, limited to 3. So they're going to get to do up to 3 conversions. If they can do at least 1, then they don't take a trickery card. They can do at least 1. 2 books of stone for 1 book of forest, and that gives them 2 books of forest for 1 book of sun, putting them back in the lead with 3 books of the sun. Next one is resolved. Ascendance of Cliffs. The spirits distribute movement among their sages equal to the total number of mountain allies they revealed during the game, limited to 3. How many? Let's see. I thought there was at least 2. 1. Only 1. Gravis Bow Jelly. Oh my goodness. So they distribute 1 movement point starting from left to right. Bam. Trickery's done. On to Oblivion. Bam. This is Oblivion card 10, and it's a prairie going out of play. Sliding everything over. Now that path goes to nowhere. So if that sage steps off the edge, they'll go into the Threshold of Oblivion. All right, let's go up the track. Boom. Each of us now has to pick 1 book of knowledge to place into the Threshold of Oblivion. I am going to place a book of prairies. Bam. Here's a dilemma. I've never run into this. They only have books of the sun that they would place in the threshold. They would put their lowest value 1. Correct me if I'm wrong. I have never had this happen. So I'm going to put a book of the sun right there. Chapter 11. Okay. I don't have any sages to put out. So I can take an action of movement, or I can do a conversion. My bonus is for the movement though. So I'm going to do a movement of 1 plus my Trailblazer gives me 2 more. So I'm going to move it here. How am I going to do this? This is tricky. I really want them to get a sage into Oblivion is what I want, so that we can get that Book of the Sun out here available to get. Let's move. Let's see. I've got 2 on the prairies, 2 in the forest, 3 in the mountains. One of them is so basically 2 on each. So the most valuable might be to get to the mountains, which I can't do yet. So I'm going to go 1, 2, visit here, and then I'm going to distribute 1 movement over... No, you know what? Take that back. 1, 2. I was there? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to move it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I could go 1, 2. Yeah, whatever. We'll do that. 1, 2. Visit here for our third. Let's just get you a little bit closer, I suppose. Yeah, let's just keep moving. All right, let's resolve this location. Let's pay 2 to upgrade up 2 spaces. So 2 books of prairies to get 1 book of forest. Now comes the movement phase. I would love to get to some conversions. 2 spaces to, I'll tell you what, let's just keep moving the forest, I suppose. But I can't because I don't have the book of prairies to pay. And I want to get to that space. So we're going to move in the prairies, I believe. We're going to move in the prairies. 1, 2. 1, 2. They're going to move 1. They're going to go 1. You know what I would like is for them to go into Oblivion. But hey, okay. They're going to move 1, and then they're going to move 1, and then they're going to move 1, and 1. There we go. No locations to resolve, if I'm correct. All right. Into Oblivion, the prairies go. Into Oblivion, that's 11 in Oblivion, and we're going to resolve the next effect. 2, 3, so prairies again, boom. We each have to put 1 sage into the reserve. I cannot do that, so they are going to get a divine token because they can't do it either. So, divine token for them. Chapter 12. Oh my goodness. All right, let's do 2 conversions to get 2 more books of the sun. Boom. Now, let's do our movement phase. 2 in the prairies, 2 in the forest, 3 in the mountains. Let's get out of the prairies, right? Let's get out of the prairies. Let's go 1, 2, and 1, 2. And they're going to move in the prairies as well. 1, 1, and that's it. I don't get to resolve any locations. It is time for my opponent's turn. There's no Oblivion. They are selecting the mountains as their location. They cannot place because they have no sages in the threshold, so they get a trickery. They're going to declare movement in the mountains. 1, 2, they go. And 1 for me. 1, and into the threshold. Bam, I have a sage in the threshold, but I have no way to get them back. Unless the opponent places 1. I don't have the 3 books of praise to put them in my reserve. Trickery phase. Each of the spirit sages in forest takes 1 movement. Okay. All right. 1, 1, 1. And they visit a location, the House of Stones. 2 books of stones for you. Boom. No Oblivion. Chapter 13. I can't do any conversions, so I can only move at this point. So I can take 1 movement, which is going to give me bonuses, or I can use my Trailblazer to move. Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to move 1, visit here, and I'm going to distribute the other 2 to get out of prairies. Let's go 1, and then let's go maybe 2, maybe move out of here and into the mountains. 2, and I believe maybe 3. 2, and I think 3. Let's go right there like that. Maybe. It'll work. Everything's going to be all right. Okay. Resolve location. 2 books of stone, and they also get 2 books of stone. This gets discarded. 2 books of stone for me, 2 books of stone for my opponent. And back you go. Now I get to declare movement. Prairie, I've only got 1. Forest, I've got 2, but I can't pay to cross that bridge yet, so that's a no. Let's declare movement in the mountains. 1, 2. 1, 2. They're going to move 1. And Oblivion. Boom. I'm going to have to count up here. We're going to rearrange these. There we go. Because we've got room. We'll do it like that. Okay, into Oblivion. Boy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 in the Oblivion. And we're going up. We each have to place a book into the threshold. My lowest value is stone, and my opponent's lowest value is stone. So into there you go. Pretty valuable threshold over there. Resolved Oblivion. My opponent did not resolve. Oh yeah, we did. They resolved their trickery. Had a little heart failure there. They are picking the mountains again. All right, let's go to the mountains. All right. Cannot place because they don't have a sage over there. So they get a trickery. They're going to declare movement. Where? In the mountains. Let's go. Boom, boom. They're going to visit a location. I'm going to move 1. I'm going to move 1 each. Oh, we are getting closer. Boom and boom. There you are. They're going to resolve it. They get 2 books of stone. Bam, bam. And they're about to step into Oblivion, which for them is a good thing. That means they'll get to place a location. All right, shared visit. Let's go. The spirits give you a shared visit token, shown below. After your sage visits the next fabled place, return the shared visit token to them, and they resolve the effect of this fabled place. Whoa. Okay. I'm going to put it here so I remember what's going on. There we go. Actually, I'm going to do this so that I remember. Next fabled place that I visit. Now we go to Oblivion. Chapter 14. Okay. I cannot pay to get my dude out of reserve. So, I can do conversions or I can do movement. I'd rather do movement. So I'm going to do 1 movement plus the bonus 2 from my Trailblazer. I sure hope I spend it right. Yes. So let's go visit. And then my next movement, let's go and, oh, this isn't really going to do me any good. I need Books of Prairies. So I'm going to be in trouble. Yeah? Yeah, I am. I'll tell you what, we're going to move. Okay, I was right there. So I can move 1. Oh, these are all bad. 2. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to downgrade. I'm going to turn this into 2 Books of Prairies. So I'm doing a conversion, but backward. 1, 2. Because that's what I want to do. Now, I'm going to move. I'm going to go 1, 2, and 3. There we go. That was my movement action. And now I'm going to, I don't have enough to get anything out of reserve. Oh boy. It's scary. What am I doing? Oh yeah, movement phase. Now I declare a location. Oh boy. You know what? I'm going to get Books of Prairies. I'm going to get a Book of Prairie when I get off of here. Let's do it. No, it's not going to happen. It might happen on the next turn. I could declare movement in the mountains. And, oh, yeah, no matter what, they're oblivionating. You know what? Let's just do it. Let's do it. Let's oblivionate. 1, 2. 1. It would be 2, but they're moving there. Resolve the location. Oh, they move 1. Bam. Oh, into the threshold they go. No more stone for them. Okay, resolve the benefit. I get a book of 2 books of trees. Boom, boom. There we go. 2 books of forest. Location resolved. Oblivionation. No. They are going to select the negotiator. Doesn't matter. Where are they going? To the mountains. That's where all the mountains are. Boy, I didn't shuffle well. Okay, to the mountains. And they can place it because they have a sage. So, Where's our Oblivionation? There we go. All right, the most powerful, beneficial for them is this one, or it's this one right here. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure the Menhirs are at their highest. Nope, it's the 2 Books of Stone. It's the other one. First, let's see if they can place it. I believe in them. Can you place it? All right, starting all the way to the left. Connecting down, and nope, because it doesn't connect to their sages. Down, and yes, this one works. They will place that right there, which means they will take the most valuable of these 2, which is this one, and they will put it in Oblivion to replace. We will replace. They have a divine token, so they will place it on the most valuable location, which is that right there. They will place one of their sages. If they had 2, they'd place 2, but they're allowed to place 1. You always put it on the main path if there's not enough. I'm also allowed to place mine if I would like. And hokey toast, why not? There we go. Boom and boom. Just like that. Sharing spaces. Being best friends. Because that's what... Oh, I did that shared visit last time. They would have gotten a book of forests. So discard this. Discard this. They get a book of forest. Now they're going to declare... Did I do it all? I think I did. Movement in the mountains. 1, 2, they go. That's their only one. 1, I go. And uh-oh. Uh-oh. Boom, boom. Into the threshold. And here's what else I forgot. Since they came out of the threshold, all of these books that were in the threshold get placed at the end of this path. So whoever gets there first gets to distribute the books. 1 to themselves, 1 to another player. They pick the order. So I want to get there first. Anyway, their movement phase is done. Trickery phase. Oblivion. Uh-oh, we oblivionated. Okay. Oblivionation. Stone. I get to resolve this. So I get 1 token and 2 movement among my sages. So here we go. 1 book of prairies. And 2 movement among my sages. I should probably resolve Oblivion first, but I'm doing this while it's on my mind. 2 movement among my sages. I'd like to get you ahead. 1, 2. Thank you, Bo Davis. And then we're going to Oblivionation. That is 13. So 1 more Oblivionation before, then that will trigger our final turn. So Oblivionation of Stone. Boom. Okay, so they are going to place a divine token from the supply, not from their reserve, on the territory that they are focusing on, which is mountains. And they're going to place this on the most valuable one, which is this right here. That means that I cannot place that one, even if I would like to. They can. I cannot. My turn. I've got 2 sages over in the reserve. I can pay to bring them out to put locations, or I can just use a movement, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to race to the end here. So I'm going to declare movement. I'm going to use my Trailblazer. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. There we go. The final space is 8 there. I'm going to declare my movement. I did that. Now, I would like to, for my movement phase, declare mountains. I'm going to go there, visit, right? And I believe it's when, yes, when I visit the fabled place at the end, I get the books. So let's distribute those right now. I'm going to take this one. I'm going to give them prairies. I'm going to give me stone. I'm going to give them stone. Boom. And, okay, so I declared movement there. They get to move 1 in the mountains. I get to move those 2. We're still good. Now let's resolve locations. I'm going to visit this fabled place and get 2 stone. 2 books of stone. They also get 2 books of stone. This gets discarded. Boom! No oblivionation. My dear opponent is picking prairies. Alright, they cannot place a prairie, so they are going to get a trickery. They're going to declare movement in the prairies. 1, 2, they go. 1, 2. Visit the most valuable is this one right here. And I get to move 1 to right there. I love it. Resolve locations. Convert 3 for 2. So they are going to transform 3 into, excuse me. Yes, 3 into 2. So these 3 are going to turn into 2 books of forest. Boom, boom. There they go. We love that. Now we're going to resolve nowhere. This one is not good. This is specific to this particular scenario. The spirits advance the threshold marker 1 space along the track, matching the target territory. In this case, prairies. After resolving the boundary token, the spirits distribute movement among their sages equal to the total number of spaces with no boundary tokens on this track. Blah. Gracious bodega. Here we go. Prairies, up 1. They get a divine token added to their reserve. Now they get to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh my goodness. So 1 left to right, 1 space each. 2 up into the threshold. And 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and back around to 8, and they're going to visit. So you just kind of loop around. Normally when they leave, they would go to a reserve and you would have to draw a trickery card. However, they're not going to the reserve, they're going to the threshold. So those rules that reference reserve do not apply. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Let's resolve this location. Transform 3 for 2 again. All right, so that's going to be 1, 2, 3. Oh my goodness. 3 books of forest for 2 books of the sun. They're at 4 books of the sun. I'm at 4 books of the sun. We're going to be running into tiebreakers. They're going to get final upgrades at the end. Oh, so we're tying it close. Back there you go. We resolve the threshold, and this is it. Our final turn. Here we go. Into Oblivionation you go. Oblivionation of the Prairies. Boom. They are going to place a divine token from the supply onto the highest value prairie, which is this one right there. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the final turn. I am going to use it for conversions because unless, you know what, I can do some powerful conversions. So we're going to use it to move. That's what I'm going to do. We're going to use it for movement. We're going to move in the forest. 1, 2, yeah, we're going to move. I'm going to go 1. And I'm going to use my Trailblazer. So I'm going to pay a book of prairies to get my guide to go over there. That's 2. And then I'm going to go 1 up here. Now that we've made it, now I'm going to declare movement in the forest. So I'm going to go 1 and, oh, that's not the one I need to visit. Yeah, here we go. 1, 2. I'm going to skip that location to go right there and visit that, which means I'm now going to pay a book of prairies to go across. That's 1, and then I'll go 2, and I don't need to visit there honestly, but I will. And where else in the forest? I have 1 more. I'm going to go 1 and 2. Now they're going to move 1 and 2 and there. So I'm the only one resolving. I'm going to get my 3 books of prairies. I'm going to resolve what I think is the best one on the board, which would be 4 conversions if we have it. Do we have a 4 conversions out here? 2 conversions for 2. I could spend 2 books to get 2 of these to get 1 book of the sun. I think that's the best. Yes, because I don't have 3 books of forest, so here we go. I'm going to use that right there. 2 books of stone for 1 book of the sun, and again, that's because this site lets me mimic, the serpent statue lets me mimic any location on the board. That's it. Oblivionation, there we go. It's already the last turn, but we're going to do it. Oblivionation in the forest means we have to put one of our sages into the threshold, because we got that right there. Neither one of us can do that, so they get a trickery card instead. And it's going to be another that's specific to the scenario. Awful for me. Let's do it. Their final turn. Here we go. They're picking forests. Let's go forests. They can place one actually because they have a sage in the threshold now. Here we go. Sage in the threshold is going to place the highest value forest, which is going to be this book of trees right here at number, yes, I believe that's the best one. So let's see if we can place it high, high, and it doesn't matter if it connects. There we go. This one works because, same exact rules. Where did it go? Right there. Because it connects to the next path with my sage, starting from left to right, the earliest possibility, and it doesn't dead end any of theirs on the one before. They're going to place their sage on there, and I'm allowed to place one of mine, so I may as well. Boom. Now they're going to declare movement in the forest. That's what they're doing. They're going to go 1, 2. They're going to go 1, 2. They're going to go 1, 2. Visiting this location. Oops, that's me. Oh, Gravis, right? They're going to go 1, visit that location. 1, 2, visit that location. Now I'm going to move 1 space. 1. Going to go boom. I'm going to visit that location. I'm going to go boom. Get nothing. I'm going to go boom. Visit that location. A lot's about to go down right now. Let's resolve theirs first. All of their locations. Let's see. What did they get? They got the serpent. They are going to do the most valuable, which is the Book of Trees. So they're going to go back there, and they're going to get their Book of Trees. Now they're going to get 2 books of stone. 1 and 2, and I forgot. They put a divine token when they place a new place on the most valuable spot, which for them is that right there. Okay. Whew. Now I'm going to resolve mine. I'm going to get books of prairies for the number of locations with sages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to get 5 books of prairies. Give it to me. I'm going to resolve the next, which is whatever high level one I get to mimic any location, which for me would be 4 conversions is what I want. I don't think we have that on the board. So instead I'm going to do transform 3 for 2 higher. That's not good enough. 3 for 2 higher. Or transform 3 for 2 of the next level. Got it. Or I can transform 2. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to mimic this. Transform 2 for 1 book 2 levels higher. There we go. That gives me 1 more Book of Fire. And I am back on the trail. We're going to do there and here. The spirits advance the threshold marker 1 space along. Oh, so it's the same thing? It's not the same thing. It almost is. The spirits advance the threshold marker 1 space along the track matching the target territory, forests. After resolving the boundary token, the spirits distribute movement among their sages equal to the total number of spaces with no boundary tokens on this track. Banger of a final move. Well done for them. So here we go. Up 1. They get another divine favor token. Boom. They get to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11? What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I feel like I miscounted last time. Maybe I did. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Into Oblivion. 7, 8. Pick the location. There we go. They already visited there, right? Right? Yes, they did. Excuse me. I forget how many movements this is. We're going to say it was 8, 9, 10, 11, and they are going to visit that. Okay, so they're going to convert 3 into 2. They're going to convert 3 stones, Gravis Bo Davis, into 2 forests. Bam! Back on the trail with you. Now they're going to get 2 books of stone. Bam! 2 books of stone. Now we resolve Oblivionation. There's no Oblivion. We are at the end. Something very special happens in the end where they do conversions. Let's do these conversions. All right, so they exchange, keep these separate, oh my goodness. Books of prairies, every 3 for 1 book of stone. They can't do that. So now every 3 books of stone for 1 book of forest. So there we go. We're going to get 2 books of forest. Bam, bam. Now they perform up to 4 conversions. So that's going to be 1 conversion. 2 conversions are possible. 1, 1 and 2 Books of the Sun. We're at the end of the game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Books of the Sun. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I win. I'm afraid I cheated. Let's go back and have a quick wrap up. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. I sure hope I did that as I was supposed to. There were a couple mistakes I noted in there. It's a challenge. It is a lot to track as you go into these more difficult scenarios. Again, that was scenario 4 out of 5 different scenarios. So I want to try the other ones out. If you're interested in this, check the link in the description, in the pinned comments. I love you all. I'll see you next time.